Adjustments District 4 meeting on February 8th, 2022. Can I get a roll call vote, please, or roll call attendance, please?
Yeah, Taylor, I just want to make sure you can start recording. Okay. Mr. Acorn?
Present.
Mr. Backus?
Present.
Mr. Finfrost?
I'm here.
Mr. Healy? And Chair Eddie?
Present.
Mr. Chair, let the record show that we have a quorum and Mr. Healy is absent.
Very good. Thank you. We will then proceed to the.
Somebody joined.
Mr. Healy.
Tim Healy. Sorry, I was late. Sorry, I'm late.
Okay.
That's okay. Perfect timing, Tim.
Mr. Healy is present.
All right. I believe we now have all 5 members. Lauren, you've got that notated?
Yes, I do. We have all 5
Stephen?
members.
Yes.
I'm sorry to throw this out right here at the beginning. I got a question for you guys. I think I know this applicant. So what does that mean?
Mr. Chair, board members, this is Tom Drzgowski. I'm the Chief Zoning Inspector. I'll respond. It's whether or not there's a conflict of interest, and that's not for staff to determine, it's for you to determine. If you feel that you cannot make an impartial decision, then you should recuse yourself, but it's completely at your discretion.
Okay. I mean, I feel comfortable making a fair decision here, but I just want to make sure everybody else is comfortable with that. It's not like a close friend. It's an acquaintance through the school my kids go to. So, anyway.
Yeah, if you can make an impartial decision and have no financial interest in the property, which I'm sure you don't, then it's okay to proceed.
Sounds good.
Thank you for bringing that up, Tim. All right, moving forward, we will proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I could have everyone stand wherever you are and recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag United States
of America,
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
Boy, that's fun over the phone.
Yeah, you can sit down now, Steve. You go ahead and sit down.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. We will move on to the first item, actionable item on the agenda. I will turn it over to staff for the presenting of our item for today.
P22VA00001, Rojas and Huerta on East Avenida de la Vista Verde. Ruben Rojas and Susan Huerta on property located at 12494 East Avenida de la Vista Verde in the CR1 single residence zone requests a variance to reduce the side yard setback to 10 feet for a proposed guest house. Section 1809020 G4B of the Pima County Zoning Code requires a minimum 20-foot side yard setback. Mr. Chair, if it's all right, I can proceed with the staff report.
Please.
All right. The property is located north of East Tanque Verde Road. It's surrounded by CR1 developed single residences. As of today, staff has not received any comments for the variance. But regarding previous cases on the property, there was an a modification of setback requirements, or MSR for short, which was requested back in June of 2021 for a side yard setback reduction for the guest house, which is the same request that they're making today. And that request was protested by a notice to neighbor. And because of that, then they had the opportunity to apply for a variance. So that's this case. And then there was also a previous variance in March 2007 that was requesting for them to have a wall in the major street and scenic route setback, but that was withdrawn because it wasn't actually necessary, because walls are allowed to be built into that setback. Regarding transportation and flood control report, the Department of Transportation has no objection and recommends approval, and the Regional Flood Control District supports this request since the proposed construction is not impacting the floodplain, and the proposed construction will impact regulated riparian habitat, RRH, and that when the building permit is applied for, a review of the impacts to the RRH will be required. The district does not have any objection to the subject case following one condition, that a minimum distance of 5 feet west of the proposed structure shall be provided to minimize disturbance to the regulated riparian habitat. Protective fencing shall be used to delineate the grading envelope and protect the RRH. And the following note shall be placed on the site plan, which is that preserved riparian habitat shall be protected during construction using protective fencing. Protective fencing must be located as shown on the site plan and must remain in place throughout the construction and development process. The subject property is a little under 51,000 square feet, and the current home, single-family home, is 3,670 square feet. There's an existing 8-foot wall on the property, and there hasn't been any other permanent activity. The proposed guest house is 1,000 square feet, which will be northeast of the existing home as illustrated on the site plan. And the owner said that it is the highest area of the property not prone to flooding, whereas the other location, which they indicated west on the western portion of their property, is of lower elevation and receives the runoff drainage of surrounding properties. And as I mentioned earlier, there was one neighbor that protested the MSR, and it was due to drainage issues. So staff's recommendation is that staff has no objection to this variance request. The western portion of the property includes a portion of floodplain. The reduction request is not for the north or western property line, but the 10-foot setback is equivalent to the requirement for the main dwelling, and there is an existing wall that would shield the eastern property from the guest house. And in regards to the variance standards, the variance request relates to a characteristic of the land for which the variance is requested, and it does not allow a use which is not permitted in the zone by the code. And if the Board of Adjustment is inclined to approve the request, staff recommends that the condition that the flood district required would be included in that request. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you, Lauren. At this time, I will open it up for my to my fellow board members if there are any questions to staff.
Stephen, this is Kim Acorn.
Yeah, please, Mr. Acorn.
Yeah, I had sent in a couple questions to staff when I looked at this, and I did receive some answers from staff, not as specific for the property, but more telling me where to look in the code or where to look online in the new Pima Maps section. I felt it was important to understand if they were claiming about this being the highest portion of the lot, and the other areas might not be as suitable because they're low-lying. Maybe they also mentioned, and they also mentioned the riparian area. So I did look into that stuff a little bit. I did find that there's about 125 feet of property to the west of the house beyond that is outside of any of the flood limit lines. I did find that the entire property is in the riparian area, not just the back portion. I did also see, and I think staff sent out an oblique aerial, that there are walls along the north side of the property, the south side of the property, and it doesn't seem to indicate, since I couldn't find the topo maps, that there's any real significant drop-off in the property level on the west side of the house versus the east side of the house. What I wanted to comment on is that I just found the way the staff report is written, and it seems to be, I haven't seen a lot of these, I think I've been on 3 or 4 of them, they just don't seem to give us all of the information that would be nice to have when we meet on these things. I thought it was kind of buried in the report, in my opinion. The fact that they previously sought the MSR for this particular location and it was protested by another owner. So the only reason it's now before this board as a variance is that's the second option that the homeowner has, which staff did clarify for me. But I think it would be nice if staff is going to support the facts of the applicant to actually give the committee the topo map for this area so we could look at that. And in this case, also the riparian area map so that we could have that kind of information. So I just wanted to make those comments.
I think that's helpful, Mr. Acorn. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and obviously staff being on the call. Mr. Dragowski, any comment, any response?
Sure, Mr. Chair. I mean, as you know, as someone who's been on the Board of Adjustment for many, many years, and I've been staffing these for 15 years or more, you know, we're trying to do our best to include the information that is necessary. And so, you know, we're doing our staff report at a moment in time, and we don't know the dialogue that the board's going to provide or want. So I think, you know, we try to get the staff reports out, include the most relevant information so the board can concisely look at it. We'll explore including other things as we see necessary. We'll take that into consideration and try to present additional information when needed. We're always available in advance, like Mr. Acorn did, reaching out to staff so we can provide any additional information that any board member thinks is relevant.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. You're right. Just how much time you all put into these cases and the information that is put out. I know there are times where additional information is needed, and I think so long as we as board members can get those questions to you in advance, you know, we do that. But knowing that this is an open meeting and bringing these questions to light and issues to light, I think that's helpful for all of us. Were there any other comments or questions for staff in relation to this variance request? If none, at this time, we will open the public meeting, and if the applicant is available, if you could please state your name and address and provide any
you were cut out there at the very end. I'm not sure if you had another request.
Yeah, Ruben, if you're the applicant, just name and address for the record and then proceed.
Okay. My name is Ruben Rojas. I live at 12494 East Avenida de la Vista Verde with my wife, Sue Huerta. And we're requesting this variance, obviously, to build this guest house. The reasons we've chosen that site, which requires a variance, is because, like we've said in the letter, is that it is actually the highest part of the property. The difference between that spot and the other spot that was referenced as a possibility was probably maybe about 3.5 feet difference. Doesn't seem like a lot, but water tends to go downhill. and that area does receive a lot of the drainage. That was the other reason why we wanted to stay away from that area. Plus, it is by a 100-year floodplain line that it's true you can build up to it, but personally, events do happen occasionally that supersede those lines, and we would also like to stay away from that. The other reasons, really, we wanted to are one, this is going to be for my elderly mother. So the closer we have her to the front of the house, I think it would be much easier. If we start building out towards that side of the property, it's a little bit further walk to the house. We would have to build some sort of infrastructure to have a walkway that would cross natural drainage from the neighborhood. We'd have to put security walls. Also, the base there, where we would put the slab for this structure, that area has had drainage for many, eons of years. But it's very sandy. It can be done, but it would impact. It would be a financial hardship to make sure that the base underneath the concrete is properly prepared, which would mean digging up that area, refilling it with proper soil. Probably have to bring in certain amounts of soil to amend it and then repag it, which costs a lot of money and takes a lot of effort and time. Also, that area has a lot of mesquites that would probably have to come down if we were going to build a structure there. Where the area we have chosen, it's pretty much bare. There's never been trees there. For probably 15 years, we had a pile of dirt there that we took out of the driveway to put the concrete in, and that dirt just sat there for probably maybe about 10 years. And just last summer or just before, I moved all that dirt to a different location in the back of the lot of our yard to fill in some low spots, but it's bare. It's ready to go. I mean, it doesn't require any major trees to be taken down. So it would protect the riparian designation of the property by building there, because nothing would be damaged as far as trees are concerned. Really, I'm not really sure what else I can say. Everything seems to be pretty well lined out in this letter that I sent. Also, that's the other thing. Our sewer, the guest house would hook up to the sewer system for the existing house. Down at that west end, it would not be easy to hook up to the sewer line because the sewer lines have to drop a quarter inch per foot, and by the time it got to where the actual sewer line leaves the property, it would not be able to do it. We'd have to raise the property up, not only just for flood concerns, but also to make sure that the sewer drains away into the existing sewer hookup. So that's another reason. I believe I probably have hit on just about everything. Are there any questions for me?
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. Riojas. And I'll open it up to my fellow board members for any questions. Hearing none, thank you very much, Mr. Riojas. At this time, I will open it up for any members of the public that wish to speak on this item. Do we have anybody on the call?
This is the nature referenced in the report.
Excellent.
Sure, yeah, you have, if you would just put your name and address on the record, usually you're limited to about 3 minutes for your comments, and then you can proceed.
Okay, name is Richard Janik, Janik, and the residence is 12490 East Avenida, Bella Vista Verde, Tucson, Arizona, 85749.
Great, proceed.
All right, so I originally expressed my concern about possible drainage onto the property with the casitas that Mr. Rojas is requesting a variance on. In looking at the report, I would note that I really don't have an objection at this point. There is one thing, is that the neighbor that is referred to as being on the east side, that property was recently purchased. So they were just informed last week about the requested variance, and apparently they knew about it and hadn't decided to do anything. So that was in the report as well. I'm good. I have no protest. I have no concerns. He could build the casitas as he wishes. Over.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this item?
From the public?
Hearing none.
Wait.
Yeah, from the public. This is the public opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
In view of that, I would make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Sure. I was just going to entertain an offer to the applicant if he wanted to provide any closing comments, but I don't think that's necessary. So, Mr. Backus, if you want to close the public hearing, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion and we close the public hearing. I think that's fine.
Oh, second.
I have a motion to. All right, motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Public hearing is closed. Fellow board members, any discussion for the group?
Yes, this is Kim Acorn.
Yes, Mr. Acorn.
Thank you. These things always seem to be so benign, and it almost seems like it's wrong to be opposed to it, but I am opposed to this. I think that we have good rules in the county. We have good rules where you can seek variances, and I think this one is really pushing the envelope. This is well over an acre. It's like an acre and a quarter lot. I know staff sent out the oblique aerial. I don't know how many looked at it, but I did. I looked at it. And like I said earlier, the floodplain is over 120 feet away. The proposed house is about 25 foot wide by about 40 feet wide. It could easily go on the back of the lot. I don't see any indication that there's any drainage that's affecting him from anybody else other than his own lot, because there's walls at the neighbor to the north, and he has a wall to the north, and there is no indication that there's anything more than local. In fact, the floodplain has a very short range of contribution for flooding. Most of it goes to the west of this owner's property. So in the back there's plenty of room. I don't find that needing to fill in 3 foot and having to perform earthwork is an unusual requirement for any type of construction. When the applicant makes his request, he certifies that he meets, or that he's read and he believes he's met the standards. I think this is a self-imposed condition. I don't think it's the minimum relief necessary. I think the entire lot's riparian area. There's nothing in anything here that forces him to have to have a unique lot and put this guest house in the front yard. It will affect the neighbor to the north. Maybe they're not saying that, but it will. And it's just cramming everything in there to where the only way to his parking is a 10-foot driveway by the time he would be done with it. Again, I don't think there's any unique feature on the property that causes this to be a request, and I think it's self-imposed. There are no drainage conditions, and as far as the riparian, there's no more difference in the front than there is in the back, and so that should be a non-issue. I don't think that these things should just be given out of hand. If we want to change the zoning code, we could do that, but I think that the setbacks required and are applicable should be respected. So I would not be in favor of the request.
This is Peter Backus. I would like to make a comment. Usually I agree with Kim, and this time I don't. I think that that if you put it in the back, I think that you'll have some more disturbance around, especially to the area to the north. I think that they will be impacted much more than the Kim does. I think that the way it is right now is actually a much better place than if you put it at the back of the house, which will definitely affect any of the view to the lot that's to the north. So I would disagree with that, and I think that right now the obvious place to put it is right where they're requesting, which is, and then give him the extra 10 feet to do it. He already has a wall there, so that's going to be of very, very little impact to the property on the east, but it'd be a lot more to the north where they have the trees, of course, are drawn in, and there is a drainage area back there. So and then the activity for the construction people to get back there is going to disturb quite a bit of the land on the north side of the property. So I would be in favor of it. I think there's a good reason to do it. I think there's going to be less of a environmental impact where they're requesting than if they open up a new area in the backside of the house. I don't think there's any reason to do that. They should. It's going to be much easier also for her to use the parking if she's got a car. I don't know, but other people will be coming in to visit, and I just think that the disturbance area is significantly less than what they're proposing than what the current code would allow. So I'm definitely in favor of it.
Thank you, Mr. Backus. For what it's worth, I agree with you. I believe Mr. Acorn's comments are thoughtful and meaningful. I just a respectful difference in opinion. But thank you, Mr. Backus. Any other comments or questions from board members?
Well, if there's nothing else, then I would make a motion that we approve. I don't have the number in front of me. I guess the whatever number it is, I guess that's rather unprofessional. I would make a motion we approve P22VA 00001, allowing the variance to take place.
Mr. Backus, this is Tom Drzgowski. You're including the condition proposed by flood control?
That's correct.
Great.
Sorry, I didn't mention that.
Thank you, Tom. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah. So just to be clear, Tom, aren't there two conditions?
Yeah, two conditions or one long condition. Yes, the proposals done by flood control at the end of their section is what we were talking about.
Okay. I would second Peter's motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, can I please get a roll call vote?
Mr. Acorn?
No.
Mr. Backus?
Yes.
Mr. Finfrock?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Chair Eddy?
Yes.
The motion to approve the case has passed 4-1.
Thank you. Do we have any other items on the agenda?
Yes, adjournment.
I second that.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. So moved. Thank you all for taking time out of your afternoon. Thank you, staff. Do we expect any hearings?
No, I don't have anything for next month.
Very good. All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eddy, for coming on, even though you had other stuff. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
All right, bye.
Take care.
Be well.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.